So in the previous section we have seen a pure translational motion and we have also seen a rotational motion of a rigid body. Now we will be going to the third type of motion. You should observe what is happening here. See, an object is moving like this. You observe the points inside also. Therefore, I have taken this. See what is happening. There are two types of combined motion. Can you guess or can you recognize, make out two types of motion there? See, this was a circular motion. What is this motion? ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಇದು ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಲೇಷನಲ್ ಮೋಷನ್ ಆಯಿತು. ಹೀಗಿದ್ದು ಹೀಗೆ ಮೂವ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಲೇಷನಲ್ ಮೋಷನ್ that we have seen. This motion around a fixed axis is a rotational motion. You observe the wheel of any moving vehicle, it is moving. You see there are two types of motion. What are the two types of motion here? One is the translational motion, where it is moving through some distance. ಹೀಗೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಮೂವ್ ಆಗ್ತದಲ್ವಾ. See, it is having a linear displacement also. So one is translational motion, other is the rotational motion. So this is a combined motion of translational and rotational motion, combination of translational and rotational motion. We call it as a rolling motion. That is a rolling motion. Actually what happens, the IPL season is just over. You have observed or followed so many bowlers and batsmen. You have observed, if you have followed a spinner, when he spins the ball, when the ball moves, now what happens? Suppose he is spinning the ball and passing it to the next fielder near him. Now what is happening? The ball has complicatory motion. I know the ball has complicatory motion. Now when it is moving, it has both the rotation and the translational motion. So that is a rolling motion. ತುಂಬ ಸಿಂಪಲ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ನಾನು ಕೊಡಬೇಕಂದ್ರೆ, ವೆಹಿಕಲ್ ಮೂವ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತಲ್ವಾ, ವೆಹಿಕಲ್ ಮೂವ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇರುವಾಗ ಅದರ ಚಕ್ರ ಹೇಗೆ ಮೂವ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅದು ರೋಲಿಂಗ್ ಮೋಷನ್. ನಾನಿಲ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ಕ್ಲೈನ್ಡ್ ಪ್ಲೇನಲ್ಲಿ ತೋರಿಸಿದ್ದು ಇದು ರೋಲಿಂಗ್ ಮೋಷನ್. ನೀವೊಂದು ಸಿಲಿಂಡರ್ ತಗೋರಿ, ಇದು ತಗೋರಿ, ಇದು ಮೂವ್ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ rolling motion. Translational plus rotational motion combined. This is rolling motion. You have a cylinder, you roll it on the ground, that is a rolling motion again. Okay. A small comparison between a rolling and a translational motion. As I have told you the example of a spinner or a spinning ball. Now, suppose I'll take as it is in your textbook. Now, I have an object here. Suppose this is the center of mass. We will come to the idea of a center of mass later. I'll consider a point P here. So this is the horizontal. This is point P. The angle between them, I take it as some angle alpha. Now what happens in a translational motion? ಈ ಬಾಡಿ ಹೀಗಿದೆ, ಇದೇ ಟ್ರಾನ್ಸ್ಲೇಷನಲ್ ಮೋಷನ್. ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಬಂದರೆ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ? The point P again, the center of mass is C, the angle with the horizontal alpha. Suppose, see, this particle is showing a translational motion. The particle comes here. Same point P here, the center of mass, angle alpha. If I take them as alpha 1, alpha 2, alpha 3, same translational motion. The point P, center of mass, I take it as alpha 4. The speciality of it is here you see alpha 1 equal to alpha 2 equal to alpha 3 equal to alpha 4. I mean the center of mass and the orientation of the particle never changes in the case of a translational motion. Suppose if it is a rotational motion, what happens? Or a rolling motion, what happens? ಹೇಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇರ್ತದೆ rolling motion ಆದರೆ ಹೀಗಿದ್ದದ್ದು ಹೀಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಹೀಗೆ. So what happens here? Point P, center of mass, okay, angle, this is alpha 1. ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಹೋದಾಗ yeah, this is your alpha 2. So when it is moving here, roll ಆಗ್ತಾ ಹೋಗ್ತಿದೆ ಅಲ್ವಾ ಹೀಗೆ. So when the particle comes here, point P, center of mass, with the angle with the horizontal alpha 3. So now you see the orientation of the particle with respect to the horizontal and also the orientation of the particle has changed over the period, but only thing is this point center of mass has kept intact. Okay. Can anybody tell me what is the major comparison or difference between the translational motion and the rotational motion? All of you must keep this idea in mind. In a case of translational motion of a rigid body, in the case of a translational motion of the rigid body, the velocity, linear velocity of all the particles remains the same, or the distance travelled in a given interval of time is always the same. But what happens in the case of circular motion? You observe one particle here and other particle here. Yeah, the particles are here. One is here, one is here. Now, after some time, this particle moves here, this particle moves here. You see, as the particle moves away from the center O, as the particle moves away from the center O, it covers larger distances. You see, for different particles, as it moves away from the center, it covers larger distances. Enough. So their distance covered is not constant, but what is constant in the case of a rotational motion? You have to understand one thing. whatever the time taken by this particle, understand, whatever the time taken by this particle to complete one complete rotation is the same taken by this particle to complete one complete rotation. ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಈಗ ಎರಡು ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಣ. ಇಲ್ಲೊಂದು ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್, ಇಲ್ಲೊಂದು ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್. ಈ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ವಾಪಸ್ ಬರುವಾಗ ನೋಡಿ, ವಾಪಸ್ ಅದೇ ಪೊಸಿಷನ್ನಿಗೆ ಬರುವಾಗ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಪಾಯಿಂಟು ಬಂದಿದೆ. ಡಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಕವರ್ಡ್ ಇಸ್ ಡಿಫ್ರೆಂಟ್ of course, but the time taken by each and every particle to complete one complete rotation andre 360 degree rotate agake ella particles same time ತಗೊಳ್ತದೆ. ಹಾಗಾದರೆ 1 degree complete ಆಗಲಿಕ್ಕೂ same time ತಗೊಳ್ತದೆ. Therefore they have the same angular velocity. Here each particle has the same linear velocity. Here each particle has the same angular velocity. On theta 360 degree ಅಂತ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಣ for one complete circle. ಈ 360 degree rotate ಆಗಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು particle same time ತಗೊಳ್ತದೆ. So omega is constant here. Okay, I wanted you to note this point. What we have observed or what we have concluded from all these observations is that if a particle or if a rigid body is not pivoted or not fixed at a point or along the axis, then it can have only the translational motion or the combination of translational and the rotational, that is a rolling motion. If it is pivoted at a point or if it is fixed at an axis, then it can have only a rotational motion. Now we will move to one more important concept of rigid body dynamics, that is center of mass. Now what is a center of mass? I have an object. Now I consider these 5 particles, I apply the force, these 5 particles move like this. Now instead of those 5 points, I consider one particular point here, one particular point. I apply the force at that particular point, it shows the same rotation. Meaning whenever I applied force to those different particles and whenever I applied force to one particular point on the body, the expression or the motion was same. So center of mass is that point in a rigid body. Center of mass is that particular point in a rigid body where whole mass of the rigid body is set to be concentrated. Rigid body ಇದೆ, rigid ಬಾಡಿಯಲ್ಲಿ m1 m2 m1 n number of particles ಇದೆ. ಈ ಪೂರ್ತಿ ಮಾಸ್ ಏನಿದೆ ಈ ರಿಜಿಡ್ ಬಾಡಿದು ಅದು ಎಲ್ಲದು ಒಂದು ಪಾಯಿಂಟಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾನ್ಸಂಟ್ರೇಟೆಡ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಅನಿಸೋ ಆ ಪಾಯಿಂಟನ್ನು ನಾವು ಸೆಂಟರ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಸ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. We call it as center of mass. Okay, we will take different situations, different examples, and we will move away with the concept of center of mass. Now, the first one, we take two particles. The two particles of some mass m1 and m2. We consider them along x-axis. We consider two particles of masses m1 and m2 along x-axis. Okay, this is the origin of the coordinate system O. Suppose first particle of mass m1 is at a distance x1 from the origin. The particle of mass m2 is at a distance x2 from the origin. Suppose there is a center of mass C which is at a distance x from the origin. Okay. This is a system of two particles lying along the x-axis. So what is the center of mass here? What is the center of mass here? The x-coordinate of the center of mass here is given by x equal to m1, mass of first particle into its distance from the origin, plus mass of the second particle into its distance from the origin, divided by the sum of the masses. Okay, this is the x coordinate, or this is the position of the center of mass. m1 x1 plus m2 x2 divided by m1 plus m2, where as you see m1 plus m2 is the total mass of the system. This is a two particle system lying along the x-axis here. Okay, I go to a special case. If here the masses of both the particles are same, that is if m1 equal to m2 say equal to some m, then what about x? X equal to, in the place of m1 I have m, in the place of x1 I have x1 plus m2 is equal to m again, x2 divided by m1 is m, m2 is also equal to m. So I am considering a two particle system along the x-axis where the masses of both the particles are same. So this is, on simplification, m into x1 plus x2 divided by 2m goes, so I write it here, x equal to x1 plus x2 divided by 2. This is for particles of different masses, this is for the particles of same masses. What do you conclude from this here? If I have a two particle system along the x-axis or any axis, if I have a two particle system having same masses, then the center of mass lies exactly midway between them. Suppose ಇದು ಒಂದು ಸಿಸ್ಟಮ್, ಒಂದು ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿದೆ, ಒಂದು ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿದೆ, ಲೈಂಗ್ ಅಲಾಂಗ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಆಕ್ಸಿಸ್. ಈ ಎರಡೂ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಇದು ಮಾಸ್ ಸೇಮ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಇಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಣ, ಮಾಸ್ ಸೇಮ್ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ಇದರ ಸೆಂಟರ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿರುತ್ತೆ? I mean exactly midway between them. That is what x1 plus x2 by 2 tells us. Very important conclusion. Okay, so this was a system of two particles along the x-axis. I will consider a system of n particles along x-axis. N particles, yeah, it can have m1, m2, m3 up to some mn. They are at a distance from the x-axis, they are from the origin, they are at a distance x1, x2, x3 up to some distance xn. Then how can I write this expression? What is the expression for center of mass? The expression for center of mass here is x equal to m1 x1 plus m2 x2 plus up to mn xn divided by m1 plus m2 plus up to mn. Okay. Now what happens here? I simplify it here. X, I can also write this as summation, I sum over summation mi xi divided by summation mi. See, all these summations run from I equal to 1 to n. ಎಷ್ಟು particles ಇದಾವೆ? 1 ಇಂದ n particles ವರೆಗೆ. What is summation I equal to 1 to n mi? This is mass of all the particles present here. Mass of all the particles present in the system. I write it as some capital M. That represents summation runs from I equal to 1 to n mi equal to m. It represents the mass of the whole system. So I can also write this as summation mi xi divided by m, or 1 by m into summation mi xi. This goes without saying. I equal to 1 to n. Okay. So this is for a very simplified system. A center of mass for a 2 particle system lying along the x-axis. This is the center of mass for n particle system lying along the x-axis. Okay, we will go to one more case. System of particles not lying on a straight line. That is, from a straight line we will go to a plane. I will consider 3 particles. This is the origin of the coordinate system O. I consider 3 particles which are not lying on a straight line. 1, 2 and 3. You can take it like this. So x1, y1, let me consider the point to be here. x2, y2. This is some x3, y3. So I consider a system of 3 particles not lying on a straight line. Now what about the center of mass here? Now what about the x coordinate of center of mass? It is, okay, the particles having masses m1, m2 and m3. Okay, so it is m1 x1 plus m2 x2 plus m3 x3 divided by m1 plus m2 plus m3. This is your x coordinate. What is your y coordinate of the system? See, the particle is lying in a xy plane here. Particle is lying in a xy plane. So the y coordinate of center of mass is m1 y1 plus m2 y2 plus m3 y3 divided by m1 plus m2 plus m3. These are the coordinates of center of mass in this particular situation. Here also we will go to a special case. If m1 equal to m2 equal to m3, say some mass m. Suppose the mass of all these particles is same. What happens if the mass of all these particles is same? Then your x equal to mx1 plus mx2 plus mx3 divided by 3m, or I can write this as x1 plus x2 plus x3 by 3. Similarly, y equal to my1 plus my2 plus my3 divided by 3m, that is equal to y1 plus y2 plus y3 divided by 3. Now you have to note down here that xy or that center of mass, it lies on the centroid of a triangle. What do you mean by a centroid? Suppose I have a triangle here. I have a triangle. Now, the line which joins the vertex and the midpoint of opposite side, it is called the median. So, this is the vertex, midpoint of opposite side. Vertex, midpoint of opposite side. So, a triangle has three medians. The point where all these three medians meet, that is called the centroid. So, here in this case, the center of mass lies on the centroid of the triangle. Okay. Important one. The center of mass of a three particle system which is not lying on a straight line. Okay. We'll move further to so from a straight line we have moved to a plane. We had taken the xy plane. Similarly, you can take xz plane also, you can take yz plane also. If you are taking xz plane, then you have x and z. If you are taking yz plane, you will have the coordinates for y and z. Okay, we will move to space now. What is the center of mass of that in space? Then, fourth case, then we have for the x coordinate, since it is in space, we have all the three x, y and z. For x it is, there will be particles, n number of particles of masses from m1, m2, m3 up to mn. Okay, so x is m1x1 plus m2x2 plus m3x3 up to mnxn divided by m1 plus m2 plus m3 plus up to mn. Similarly, y m1y1 plus m2y2 plus m3y3 plus up to mnyn divided by mn. The z coordinate, you all know summation mi equal to the total mass of the system m. So, I can write this as summation mi xi divided by summation mi, or this I can write it as summation mi yi divided by summation mi. Similarly, this I can write as summation mi zi divided by summation mi. Summation mi is the total mass of the system. We can write it as m. So, I can also write this as 1 by m summation mi xi. Of course, I moves from, or I ranges from I equal to 1 to n. Similarly, here it is 1 by m into summation mi yi. Here it is 1 by m into summation mi zi. This is the center of mass of n particle system in space. N particle system in space. Okay, we will have one more idea, center of mass using the notation of position vector. So we will be looking into a new concept, one more concept, the center of mass using the notation of position vector. Let me take a coordinate system. Let me consider a xy plane. Now, I consider a particle of mass m1 here. Its position vector is some r1 vector. I consider some particle of mass m2, its position vector is some r2 vector. Similarly, suppose this is the center of mass of the system, consider somewhere here, okay, center of mass of the system, then this position vector of the center of mass is some r vector. So how to write it in terms of vector notation. So in terms of vector notation, then the center of mass equal to summation mi. There you had xi, yi, zi. Now I take it in terms of the position vector ri vector divided by m, or you can also write it as r vector equal to 1 by m into summation mi ri vector. This is the center of mass of any particle system in terms of position vector. Okay. Suppose if this position vector coincides with the origin of the coordinate system. If the position vector of the center of mass, if the center of mass coincides with the origin of the coordinate system, then what happens? Then summation mi ri vector is equal to 0, because this is equal to 0. Suppose this point comes here, this is equal to 0, this cannot be equal to 0, there is a system has mass, so this quantity becomes equal to 0. Okay. Further, we will look into the center of mass for a closely packed system or a body. For a closely packed system like this, the number of particles here, the number of particles in a closely packed system are so large that it is difficult to take the summation over individual particles. The number of particles n is so large that it is difficult to take the summation over the individual particles. Again, the distance between the particles will be so small that the whole body can be taken as the continuous distribution of mass. So in this case, we will take small particles of some masses delta m1, delta m2 up to some delta mn. As the number of particles n in the body goes on increasing, this becomes smaller and smaller. So how to write the center of mass for a closely packed system or a body like this? So coordinates of center of mass for a closely packed system or a body like this is x equal to summation, in the place of mi we now have delta mi xi divided by m, delta mi or m you know, summation delta mi is equal to m. Similarly, y equal to summation delta mi yi divided by m, and z equal to summation delta mi zi divided by m. Now, as the number of particles n goes on increasing, these equations become exact. Then we can write delta mi as integral dm equal to m. So, delta mi xi, it goes to x dm, delta mi yi goes to y dm, delta mi zi goes to z dm. Then these equations can be rewritten as x equal to integral x dm divided by m, or it is equal to 1 by m integral x dm. Similarly, this y can be written as y equal to 1 by m integral y dm, z equal to 1 by m integral z dm. If I want to write the vector notation, then r vector equal to 1 by m integral r vector dm. This is for a closely packed system or a body. If the center of mass of this closely packed system, if it coincides with the origin of the coordinate system, if the center of mass of this system coincides with the origin of the coordinate system, as we have seen in the previous section, r vector becomes equal to 0. Therefore, integral x dm will be equal to 0, integral y dm will be equal to 0. Similarly, integral z dm will be equal to 0 for a closely packed system or a body. Okay, few important points regarding center of mass. What will be the center of mass of a sphere? Center of mass of a sphere, it is the center of sphere itself, the geometrical center of the sphere. Center of mass of a cylinder, it is the midpoint of axis of cylinder, I mean the geometrical midpoint. Center of mass of a ring, it is at the center of ring, and center of mass of a cube, it is a point where the diagonals of the cube meet. I have given some general examples, and you have to remember, I mean next chapter you will be looking into the center of gravity. In a uniform gravitational field, center of mass and the center of gravity coincides except few exceptional cases. In all other cases, the center of mass and the center of gravity coincides in the uniform gravitational field. And again, most of the times center of mass will be the geometrical center of a body having uniform mass density. And there is one more question. Is it compulsory to have a center of mass inside the system or inside the rigid body? No. I take the example of a ring. So where is the center of mass of this ring situated? Center of mass of this ring is situated here, at the center of the ring. If I take a bow, ನಾನು ಬಾಣ ತಗೋತೀನಿ, ಬಾಣ ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಸೆಂಟರ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿದೆ? ಸೆಂಟರ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಸ್ ಬಾಣದ ಮೇಲೆ ಇಲ್ಲ, ಇಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲೋ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. And one more question, is it necessary to have a mass at the center of mass? ನಾವು ಒಂದು ಬಾಡಿಗೆ, ಒಂದು ರಿಜಿಡ್ ಬಾಡಿಗೆ ಸೆಂಟರ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಸ್ ಅಂತ ಯಾವ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ, ಆ ಪಾಯಿಂಟಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಸ್ ಇರೋದು ಕಂಪಲ್ಸರಿನಾ ಅಂತ. ಇಟ್ಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಕಂಪಲ್ಸರಿ. ಈಗ ಈ ರಿಂಗನ್ನೇ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ, ನಾನು ಸೆಂಟರ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೇನೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿದೆ ಸೆಂಟರ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಸ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೇನೆ, ಸರಿನಾ? ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಸ್ ಇರೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಇಲ್ಲಿದೆ ಸೆಂಟರ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಸ್, ಬಟ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಅಗೈನ್ ಒಂದು ಹಾಲೋ ಸಿಲಿಂಡರ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಹಾಲೋ ಕ್ಯೂಬ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಈಗ ನಾನು ಹಾಲೋ ಸ್ಪಿಯರ್ ತಗೋತೀನಿ, ಹಾಲೋ ಸ್ಪಿಯರಲ್ಲಿ ಸೆಂಟರ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿದೆ? ಸೆಂಟರ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಸ್ಪಿಯರಲ್ಲಿದೆ, ಸರಿನಾ? ಸೆಂಟರ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಹಾಲೋ ಸ್ಪಿಯರಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾಸ್ ಇದೆಯಾ? ಇಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ಟು ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್, ಸೆಂಟರ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಸ್ need not lie inside the body, one point. Another point is where the center of mass is situated, there need not be any mass. Okay. Now we will move further. Hope you have understood all these theory things. In order to make these theory things more easier for you, let us solve some numericals. Okay, we will solve a numerical related to the center of mass here. What is given? In a HCl molecule, they have given a HCl molecule constituting of hydrogen and chlorine atoms. The separation between the nuclei of two atoms is about 1.27 angstrom. The distance between the nuclei of two atoms is about 1.27 angstrom. Find the approximate location of the center of mass of the molecule, given that, what is given? Chlorine atom is about 35.5 times as a hydrogen atom. Okay, we will solve this problem. Now, as you all know, when we are given a situation like this, it is better to draw a diagram and understand the situation, understand the things whatever is happening or taking place here. So I imagine a coordinate system here, a xy plane, origin. Okay, here you see hydrogen and chlorine molecules. We should have x1 and x2, but only distance given is distance between hydrogen and chlorine, that is 1.27 angstrom. So what do? Is we fix the hydrogen atom to the origin of the coordinate system, and the chlorine atom is kept at a distance of 1.27 angstrom. From units and dimensions, I mean in the chapter units and dimensions, you have studied the value of angstrom. 1 angstrom equal to 10 to the power minus 10 meter. So it is 1.27 angstrom. Okay. So what is the distance x1? Can anybody tell me the distance x1? The distance of hydrogen atom, or the distance of the nucleus of hydrogen from the origin, it is kept at the origin itself. So x1 equal to 0 we can write. x2, that is the distance of this chlorine atom from hydrogen, that is from the origin, that is x2 equal to 1.27 into 10 to the power minus 10 meter. Okay. Now, what about the mass? What about the mass? What they have given? Mass of the chlorine atom is about 35.5 times as a hydrogen atom. So, mass of hydrogen atom, I take it as M1. Mass of chlorine atom, I take it as M2. So, mass of chlorine atom is 35.5 times as that of mass of hydrogen atom. So, MCl equal to 35.5 into mH, or I can also write it as 35.5 mH is M1. So, M2 equal to 35.5 times m1. What do you have to find out? You have to find out the location of center of mass. It is lying on x-axis. You go back to that system we had, where we had a two particle system lying on the x-axis. We have the formula to find out the center of mass. What is the x coordinate? Formula for the x coordinate, can you remember? It is m1x1 plus m2x2 divided by m1 plus m2. As you all know, if you are solving a numerical, writing down the formula is must. Okay. So m1 is mh. I can take it as some m. So this also becomes m. x1 is 0 plus m2 is mcl, that is 35.5 times m. What is x2? What is x2? It is 1.27 into 10 to the power minus 10 divided by m1 plus m2. m1 is m plus m2 is 35.5 times m. So we will solve m into 0, 0. So this is m 35.5 into 1.27, that comes around 45.085. 45.085 into 10 to the power minus 10 into m divided by, this is when I take m 1 plus 35.5, so it is 36.5 m. So this goes. So this value comes around, if you calculate, it is 1.23 into 10 to the power minus 10, or that is equal to 1.23 angstrom. 1.23 angstrom. Okay, come back. Where will be that distance of 1.23 angstrom from the origin? From the origin. This is at a distance 1.27. 1.23 is somewhere near here. So this is the center of mass of HCl system. ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಹೈಡ್ರೋಜನ್ ಮತ್ತು ಕ್ಲೋರಿನ್ ಇದು ಮಾಸ್ ಸೇಮ್ ಇರ್ತಿದ್ರೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮಿಡ್ವೇ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತಿತ್ತು. ಈಗ ಕ್ಲೋರಿನಿನ ಮಾಸ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದೆ, ಹೈಡ್ರೋಜನ್ನ ಮಾಸ್ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇದೆ. ಸೊ ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಸೆಂಟರ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಸ್? ಒಂದು ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಟಿ ಸೆಂಟರ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಸ್ ಇದೆ ಏನಂದರೆ, ಸೆಂಟರ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಸ್ ಯಾವ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಇದ ಮಾಸ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದೆ ಅದ್ರ ಹತ್ರ ಇರುತ್ತೆ. ದ ಸೆಂಟರ್ ಆಫ್ ಮಾಸ್ ವಿಲ್ ಲೈ closer, or the center of mass will lie near to the heavier particle. Okay, we will move to one more numerical related to the center of mass. Previous example or previous numerical, we have seen a system of two particles. Now there is a system of three particles. Find the center of mass of three particles at the vertices of an equilateral triangle. By equilateral, what do you mean? All the sides are equal. That is, the distance between each of these particles is same. The masses of the particles are given. So what are given? M1 100 gram, M2 150 gram, you can even convert it into kilogram and write M3 200 grams. Okay. Each side of the equilateral triangle is 0.5 meter long. I mean, the distance between each particle is 0.5 meter. Now, before I solve this numerical, I will explain you a very general case, I mean how to solve this problem generally. I have a particle, I mean system of 3 particles like this. 3 particles which are touching each other. Now, they have told us the radius of each ball or each sphere is r. So, what is the distance between them? What is the distance? This is r plus r, so it is 2r here, 2r here and 2r here. What do I do is, I keep this in the origin. The origin of the coordinate system ಗೆ ಹಾಕ್ತೇನೆ. ಈಗ ಏನಾಯಿತು, ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಈ ಡಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ 2r ಆಯಿತು, ಸರಿನಾ? ಈ ಡಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ಏನಾಯಿತು, ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದಿಸ್ ಡಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್? ಇದು ಈಗ r ಆಯಿತು, ಸರಿ? ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡಿ ಈ ಡಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ r ಆಯಿತು. ಈ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಕೋಆರ್ಡಿನೇಟ್ಸ್ 0,0 ಆಯಿತು. ಈ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ನ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಈ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ನ ಕೋಆರ್ಡಿನೇಟ್ಸ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, x r y 0 r, 0. ಈ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ನ ಕೋಆರ್ಡಿನೇಟ್ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, x 2r ಇದೆ, y 0. ಸರಿ, ಹಾಗಾದರೆ ಈ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ನ ಕೋಆರ್ಡಿನೇಟ್ಸ್ ಏನಂತ ನೋಡೋಣ. ಈ ಪಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ನ ಕೋಆರ್ಡಿನೇಟ್ಸ್ x ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ y. x ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ, r ಇದೆ. y ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ ನೋಡಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ, ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ಅ ರೈಟ್ ಆಂಗಲ್ ಟ್ರಯಾಂಗಲ್. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಸ್ಕ್ವೇರ್ ಪ್ಲಸ್ ದಿಸ್ ಸ್ಕ್ವೇರ್ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಟು ದಿಸ್ ಸ್ಕ್ವೇರ್. ಸಪೋಸ್ ಐ ನೇಮ್ ಇಟ್ OABC if I name. So AC square plus CO square equal to AO square ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. So this is r square plus AC square equal to 2r whole square. So AC square equal to 4r square minus r square, 3r square, or AC equal to root 3r. So illu r comma root 3r. ಇದು x coordinate r ಆಯಿತು, ಇದು y coordinate root 3r. ಇದನ್ನು ನೀವು ಜನರಲ್ ಆಗಿ ನೆನ್ಪಿಟ್ಕೋಬೋದು. What I say is you can generally, I mean take it, remember it generally here. Now you see, if you write it to that thing, this is 0.25, 2r ಎಷ್ಟಿದೆ, 5 ಇದೆ. ಸೊ r is 0.25 ಮೀಟರ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, 0.25 ಮೀಟರ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Going by that, I can write the coordinate system to be this point 0,0 O, this point some point B ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಈ ಡಿಸ್ಟೆನ್ಸ್ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ 0.5 ಮೀಟರ್. ಸೊ 0.5, x ಆಕ್ಸಿಸ್ 0, ಯಾಕೆ ಪೂರ್ತಿ y ಆಕ್ಸಿಸ್ 0, ಯಾಕೆ ಪೂರ್ತಿ x ಆಕ್ಸಿಸಲ್ಲಿದೆ. ಸೊ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಪಾಯಿಂಟನ್ನು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಇದನ್ನ ಎ ಅಂತ ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋಣ, ಇದನ್ನ ಸಿ ಅಂತ ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋಣ. ಸೊ ಸಿಗೆ ಇಲ್ಲೇನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಮಿಡ್ವೇ ಹಾಫ್ 0.5/2, ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ 0.25 ಆಯ್ತು. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ 0, x ಆಕ್ಸಿಸ್ 0.25, y 0. ಸರಿ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಬನ್ನಿ ಏದ್ದು ಕೋಆರ್ಡಿನೇಟ್ಸಿಗೆ. ಏದ್ದು ಕೋಆರ್ಡಿನೇಟ್ಸ್ r, root 3r. r ಅಂದರೆ ಇಲ್ಲೇನಿದೆ ನನಗೆ 0.25 ನೋಡಿ, x ಆಕ್ಸಿಸ್ ಇಷ್ಟೇ 0.25, root 3 into 0.25. If you want, you can calculate this root 3 into 0.25. Root 3 into 0.25, you get it around some 0.433 meter ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. You can also write it as 0.433 meter. ಸೊ ಇದನ್ನ ಜನರಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡು ಮಾಡಿ ಅಥವಾ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಇಲ್ಲೂ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ಅದೇ ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಷನ್. OC square plus OC square plus CA square equal to AO square ಮಾಡಿ. You get it, the same thing. But it's better to remember this for any competitive exam that you are writing. Okay. Now we'll write the coordinates of x and y. So coordinates of x, m1 x1 plus m2 x2 plus m3 x3 divided by m1 plus m2 plus m3. So m1 is 100 gram, 100 into x1. Ill nodi, this is x1 y1, x2 y2, x3 y3. I mean, you can name it in any fashion, but you have to write the distances accordingly. Okay, 100 m1 into x1 0 plus m2 is 150, x2 is 0.5 plus m3 is 200, x3 is 0.25 divided by m1 plus m2 plus n3, 100 plus 150 plus 200. So this is equal to, you get it to be, this is 0 plus half of 150, that is 75, plus 200 into 0.25, 50. Yes, divided by 200, 300, 350, 450. So this is around 5, 10, 11, 12, 450. So you get the value equal to 0.277 meter. 0.277 meter. That is about your x coordinate. Speaking about your y coordinate, y equal to, similarly, m1 y1 plus m2 y2 plus m3 y3 divided by m1 plus m2 plus m3. So as usual, m1 100, y1 here you see, x1 y1, so it is 0, m2 150, y2 here you see, x2 y2 0 plus m3 200, y3 here root 3 into 0.25, or you can also write it as 0.433 divided by 100 plus 150 plus 200. So this is 0 plus 0 plus 200 into 0.433. 200 into 0.433, you get it as, you get the whole thing as 86.6 divided by 450. So you get, after the calculation, you get the answer to be 0.192 meters. So when you plot, you get the point to be somewhere here. That is your center of mass of this given system.